Good evening guys, I am Carlo Delfin from CR24 and I'm going to make a tutorial video that will serve as compliance in our midterm final quiz and recitation. So we will move to our first topic. Our first topic is forensic serology. Forensic serology is the application of the study of blood, semen, saliva, and other body fluids to legal matters. The field is generally comprised as the detection of enzymes and antigens. The serology section of forensic laboratory may deal with of any or all of the following: blood typing, characterization of unknown stains, blood spatter, DNA testing, semen identification, and etc. Paano nga ba malalaman kung ang isang mancha is isang uri ng blood stain? Meron tatlong presumptive test. Una, Kastel-Meyer test. Pangalawa, luminal test. Pati pangatlo, Eucomolite sheet grid test. Sa Kastel-Meyer's test, nilalagyan ng penalty solution ng isang pinaghinalaang blood stain. Then, susundan ito ng hydrogen peroxide. Pag ito ay lumuwanag na kulay pink, positive na ito ay blood stain. Ang luminal test ay ginagamit sa malawak na area na kung saan ay pinaghinalaang dugo na hindi makita. Kapag ang dugo ay nasa lugar na iyon, ito ay magliliwanag. Ito ay dapat tinitingnan sa madilim na lugar at pagkatapos ay kinukuha ng litrato. In a test tube, an extract that came from suspected blood stain will added to anti-serum. So lumipat naman tayo sa blood typing antigens. On the surface of red blood cells are molecules called antigens. Antigens allow living system to recognize foreign biological substances. Antigens also impact specific characteristics to the RBCs. These characteristics can be partly used to identify individual. So we will move to the next topic, forensic characterization of semen. Seminal fluid contains water, enzymes, inorganic salts, and spermatozoa. We will move to the next topic, forensic characterization of saliva. Saliva is a mixture of many components, which is water, mucil, amylase, and mucin. A simple test for saliva involves mixing of starch, iodine, and sample of presumed saliva together. Starch and iodine appear deep blue color when it mixes. The amylase breaks down starch, however, the color will be. This will be the end of our topic, forensic serology. We'll move to our next topic, forensic odontology. Forensic odontology is the proper handling, examination, and evaluation of dental evidences, which will be presented in the interest of justice. The evidence that may be derived from the teeth, the age, and identification of the person to whom the teeth may belong. Knowledge of forensic dentist requires encompassing of number of disciplines. Since the dental record obtained can identify an individuals or afford the information needed by authorities to establish identification of the case. The first method is craniofacial morphology and dimension. The morphology of the skull and mandible pattern formed by 6 traits. Those are mastoid, supraparietal ridge, size, and architecture of the skull, zygomatic extension, nasal aperture, and mandible gonial angle and frontal sinus dimension are taken into consideration. The second method is sex difference in tooth dimension. Sex determination by measuring mesodistal and buccolingual dimension is most simple and reliable method for sex determination. Both the dimensions are more in male than in female. The third method is tooth morphology. In male, the distal accessory ridge in canines is more prominent than in female. In female, there is less number of hoops in mandibular first molar. These features can be because of evolutionary reduction in the female lower jaw size. And the last method is sex determination by DNA analysis. The study by DNA analysis and his associates stated that the sex determination could be obtained from the study the X and Y chromosomes up to 4 weeks of the death. So we move to the next topic, the birthmark. The birthmark is defined as the physical alteration in or on a medium caused by the contact of teeth. In few of criminal cases, it is since that suspect or victim has left his or her teeth marks on another person or inanimate object. We will move to the lip print. Chiloscopy is a forensic investigation that deals with identification of based on lip traces. Lip print wrinkle pattern has individual characteristics same as fingerprints. The wrinkles and grooves on the labial mucosa form a characteristics pattern called lip prints. The presence or absence of a person from the crime can be verified based on lip prints, since the lip print being uniform throughout the life. So we will move to the next topic, the anthropometry. Anthropometry, designed by Alphonse Bertillon, began in 1890, lasted approximately 20 years before being replaced by fingerprint identification. Alphonse Bertillon proposed a method of identification in 1879 using anthropological body measurements. With help from his father, he was able to successfully develop and implement anthropometry in 1882. This system consisted of using calipers and other measuring devices to take 11 specific body dimensions. Alphonse took each measurement 3 times and recorded the average of the 3 and of his card files. I find it interesting that Bertillon included probability calculation that long ago it was determined that the odd for one particular measurement being exactly the same for any 2 men will be 1.4. Thus, the chances of 2 men having the same height and the same foot size, for example, will be 4/4 the chances for all 11 measurements being shared between 2 individuals. So we will move to the next topic, named portrait parler. Portrait parler, these 2 French words means speaking likeness. Portrait parler can be defined as rigorous system to verbal description of physical characteristics of the subject. It is based on the Bertillon method of criminal identification by measurement of the body, of the human body, and it's still in practice today to some extent. A distinctive description of every feature of the face and head are especially valuable to the investigator, especially when a set of the suspect fingerprints is not available in the crime scene. Bertillon card, comprising of 4 areas: anthropometry, a field of enriched with new topological description of ear, nose, and iris; an incremental, a detailed physical description method which form the basis of portrait parler. The Bertillon card included spaces for the description of the prisoner's eyes, ears, lips, beard, hand, color, skin, ethnicity, forehead, non-chin, general contour of head, hair growth, pattern, eyebrows, eyeballs, and orbit, mouth, neck, inclination of shoulders, attitude, voice, language, habiliments. The Bertillon card included 2 photographs, one face on and one in profile. 25 traits described in Bertillon card. Gender, face shape, chin shape, skin color, hair type, eye shape and eyelashes length, mouth size, up, thickness, nose size, nose shape, nostril shape, earlobe attachment, ear pits, hairy eyes, cheek freckless, forehead fleckless, hair color. Fingerprint killed the Bertillon card. The complexity of the Bertillon system, the very thing that provided it with such accurate and reliable data, also proved to be the downfall. It was simply too cumbersome to replicate with sufficient accuracy. A fingerprint is a physical sign that cannot be falsified or distinguished, and the mathematical likelihood of 2 individuals having identical fingerprints is infinitely small. We will move to another topic, which is forensic anthropology. Forensic anthropology can be described as the analysis of human remains for the methodological purpose of establishing identity. It is a multidisciplinary endeavor that applies the knowledge of biological anthropology and human osteology of cases where human remains are skeletonized or where a detailed understanding of the growth and development, morphology or reactive norms of human body can assist another discipline in positive identification. As such, it is perhaps best placed as a subdiscipline within the wider practice of forensic human identification, having applicability to both the living and the dead. Anthropologists are routinely called upon to assist in the identification of individuals whose remains are severely decomposed, burned, disrupted, mutilated, or otherwise rendered difficult to recognize. Their services have been of particular value in three main areas: investigation resulting from homicide, unexplained natural deaths, accidents, and mass fatalities, non-criminal events resulting in multiple deaths arising from natural catastrophes, and war crimes investigation and genocide. However, the anthropologists may also be called upon to assist in the assessment of the living. Practitioners of forensic anthropology are specialists in human skeletal morphology and are generally trained via human anatomy. Physical or biological anthropology or osteology professional accreditation is important in order to set profession entry standards, to monitor continuing professional development, and to oversee the maintenance of professional competence. Forensic anthropology and human identification. The role of forensic anthropology focuses on applying detailed knowledge of the development, morphology, and variation of human body as an aid of establishing, confirming, or indeed refuting personal identification. For biological criteria from the basis of any primary identification: skeletal or developmental age, biological sex, living stature, and ancestry of racial affiliation. These characteristics are supplemented by secondary traits, which include the following: body modification, evidence of surgical inventions, including scars and prosthetics, evidence of trauma, and chronic hard and soft tissue disease that may leave characteristics, macroscopic and microscopic lesions of surviving tissues. Any of these additional factors can be of assistance when attempting to identify an individual, and combination of the above can be extremely useful when confirming identity. The anthropologists may also be called upon to advise on the manner of death, particularly in case of skeletal trauma, or where physical processes such as burning, dismemberment, or explosive damage has disrupted the remains, rendering quantitative process. This will be the end of our discussion and our topics. I hope that you got something from me. Bye-bye.